Hello, this is Flat Cap Cafe Racer. I'm on top of Freeze Out Hill. On today's ride, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the lively comments I got from the What's Going On with Triumph video. I'll put a link to that in the comments section here. Most of my regular viewers will know that I don't have a large channel. It's growing, but my usual amount of videos is somewhere between, I'd say, 100 and 300 views, and I'll get about 25 comments, and sometimes I'll pick up a subscriber, maybe an average of 30 per month. So I'd say a small but growing channel. In my last video that I'm going to be talking about here was what was going on with Triumph video, which did, I'm very pleased to see it got a lot of views, somewhere around 15 or 16,000 at this present time, and probably a couple hundred comments and over 80 subscribers. So it certainly struck a tone anyway. I'm not sure it struck the tone I was wanting, but I got a lot of comments, and a lot of people seem to have a very similar type experiences, not only with Triumph but with some other brands. You know, I think this is a bigger issue than Triumph having problems getting parts, although they are part of it. One of the comments I got was from BareBones Motorcycle, BareBonesMC. I think he's out of Australia, and I went over to his site, and he did an excellent job on one of his videos talking about recalls. And it's a recent, you know, I guess 2024 or 2025. It's a really recent one, and it was surprising, you know, information he got out of that. I did something similar to what he did in 2021, and it covered a 5-year period, and it had focused on recalls and complaints of the 13 major brands. And I'll put a link to both his video and my video in the comments section. I really like the way he did his. Mine was more concentrate more on the numbers and stuff like that. And I was really surprised to see in my 2016 to 2021, that's 5 years, which brands had the most complaints and most recalls. And I think you might also. And it turns out that some of the brands that don't have a lot of recalls back in that period of time, one of the brands was KTM, and I commented back then 4 years ago that they had an extraordinary amount of complaints, which indicated to me that they weren't recalling bikes for issues that they had. And that, I guess that kind of turned out to be true. The fact that you know, 3 or 4 years later they have all these problems. One of the ones that I was surprised me more than anything, Honda didn't have a lot of recalls. Well, they had a lot of recalls, but they had a lot more complaints than they had recalls, which means to me they weren't necessarily listening to their customers. And the way Honda was dealing with some of the recalls, they were doing it by service bulletins. So you might not even know that your bike had a recall, but when you brought it in for service, then they would do the whatever Honda had them directed, and you might not even know anything about it. That way it kept it pretty quiet, you know. If they had a problem, nobody knew about it a lot, and they just took care of it by service bulletins, which I give them credit for taking care of it, but you know, that kind of leads you to believe that they're doing a little bit better than what they were doing. I think the recalls has been something usually doesn't happen the first year a bike's out. It may take a year or two before an issue will come up to the degree that they'll issue a recall, you know, if it's a safety issue. But I'd recommend watching BareBonesMC. He did a really good job on that, and I'll put that one up there. He did a really good job on that one, and I'm looking forward to seeing some more of his stuff. You know, I got a lot of people telling me that, you know, I got Harry from Australia telling me he's got a shifter for his 2007 trucks, and shift lever order for extremely long time. You know, there's no real reason for that. I can't understand companies, what they're doing. I know Triumph has changed in the last 2.5 years, and where they're not getting visibility to dealers, from one dealer to the next dealer, you know, finding the parts. But I think that's a mistake, and that should be correct. I've got, as far as my bike is concerned, my part did come in, and now it's scheduled to have the maintenance done, the repair done on September 27th. I'll let you know how that goes. But it did turn out that Triumph took a long time to actually send my part after it was ordered, was part of the reason. But the other part of the reason was they've changed the rules on tariffs coming in, and parts that have to go through customs now. Before the end of August of this year, 2025, if your part was valued at less than $800, they took a shortcut through customs. It didn't take that very long. But now that's changed, where every part has to go through the same customs, the long form. So now, instead of having a short line, they've had all those people that were in the short line are in the longer line now. So which makes it even a lot more time consuming to go through customs. That's just the way it is. Everybody's customs are a little bit different, and I'm sure ours will change and over time. I'm not complaining about that. That's just part of the deal. But now the part's in, we'll see. Hopefully it's the right part, and it'll fix the bike. I do really appreciate everybody that watched that video and commented, and I try to answer all the comments that I could. And I'll continue giving you updates, but maybe I'll do another one of those recall and complaints from 2021, where I stopped the other one, to 2025, and just see how it's changed over those 4 or 5 years. It just takes about a week to compile all that information, then to put it in some sort of format I can use. So I may do that again if there's it just doesn't seem like none of the brands are getting better. In fact, I kind of agree with BareBones. They're all getting a little worse, and I don't know what to do. And they don't think it's important. I do. So thanks very much for listening, and this is the Black Cap Cafe Racer out. Bye, y'all.
Join me and my friends at Flat Cap Cafe Racer for riding and racing. Please subscribe.